So I finally purchased the Conde on my main account, totally wiping me out of credits, because I also bought the Patrie recently, and it's time to play this ship a little bit. And I'll just sum up how my games have been going with this first little salvo here. Except, it's not my salvo, it's the enemy team's salvo. I've been playing this ship very poorly, and this is about how most of my games have been starting. I'm playing far too aggressive. The Conde is a very good ship, I'm just not playing it very well, and to make up for that, I'm actually running range mod. I know. But this is how I've been, unfortunately, playing this amazing ship. We're still going to have a really good game, even though we're lacking a little bit on the DPM. But I want to show you this match partially because it's good, but also it shows a little bit of the struggles you can have if you play the Conde and you don't play particularly well, or you don't understand positions that you need to take or worry about when it comes to battleships and the salvos that they can get off at you. We can think of this early game as a bit of an AR buff, I suppose, if we want to look at it in the positive light, although it's mostly just me giving away HP for free. So now that we're relegated to the back of the map, maybe that's why I am taking range mod, or maybe it's a good reason I should be taking reload mod and playing a little bit smarter. I would probably get a lot more out of this ship. These games, though, do represent super ship gameplay pretty well. There's no carrier here, there is no submarine here, and yet the games are still extremely passive, and they're only going to get more passive as time goes on here. I do believe the Des Moines on the enemy team is going to go down here. He's caught a little bit too close to our team, around 15 kilometers away. And now we're going to have to deal with kiting away battleships that can overmatch us, which is not the easiest thing to deal with. But given this ship's range mod, and if you're able to accurately lead the salvos, these shells hurt. They're HE, they don't really care about losing penetration at range. They can deal a lot of fire damage as well, and that's what we're going to do. So even though I played somewhat poorly here, the Conde is so amazing that it can do just fine, even in these pretty mediocre scenarios. If I was to do this game over again, I probably would have played a little bit more passive. I probably should have stayed a little closer to the B cap. I probably could have helped out on that DD engagement. And instead of it being a trade, it could have been our team just getting ahead, for example. Although coming out to the flank is generally a really good idea in French cruisers. They tend to want to play these open water positions. They want to kite in and farm battleships. But they should only do that when they know what's on the flank, right? That's probably my big mistake, was not allowing my destroyer to actually do some spotting before I went out to the flank. I think that's probably the biggest mistake I made in the beginning. But like I said, we're still going to have a good game. That was nearly 5k at 20 kilometers, and we lit a fire on the price end. Yeah, we're actually going to burn down this price end reasonably efficiently this game. So I don't know what I would do as that price end player, because he's already on the border running away at the back of the map. And this is kind of the issue with German battleships and ships that want to play at a little bit closer ranges into some of these super ships. These builds are possible. These range mod super ships are possible to play, and I mean, they're not that hard to lead at long ranges against some of these really massive battleships that are pretty slow to maneuver. So it's not like it's difficult to actually lead this price end and get us a little bit of damage. And while I'm really not a fan of this long-range HE spam, and I'd rather play more brawly battleships up close, you can see on the minimap what my position here is doing to the enemy team. Of course, there's a Thunderer and a Bourgogne as well on this flank, but we're pushing the enemy team so far back into their spawn that there's absolutely no way that they can hold the B cap. So even though I probably misplayed a little bit and gave them the B cap early on, this position is still helping our team win the game, even though I'm in J1 of all places. I could be a little more useful if I was pushed up a little bit more, but they're just running away. And that is something that is so powerful about the Conde. Nobody wants to push into this ship because you're going to die. And maybe that makes life a little bit harder for the Conde player, because the reputation of this ship is that it's so strong that everyone just runs away, and it makes it a little bit difficult to get damage. Although, I really do think that this ship shines in the mid and late games. The AP on this ship is actually really good as well if you can make use of it. I really want to point out something as well as we're getting into this mid-game here. I have 5 reload boosters available. This is a big misplay that I do a lot on French ships. Anything with a reload booster, really. I tend to end games with a ton of reload boosters available to me. And this is really bad. It means you're just missing out on damage in the mid-game. You're missing out on battle impact that you could have had against the enemy battleships, cruisers, radar cruisers while they're spotted, or destroyers, that kind of thing. French cruisers are limited completely by their damage output. That is it. That is all the battle impact you're going to get here. There's no radar here. There's no real tankiness that you can use to push in. Yeah, the armor's decent, 30 millimeters, but at this tier, that's paper armor. That's not really going to help you out that much. This ship relies on its guns and its guns alone. So if we have reload boosters at the end of the game, that means we're not having the most battle impact we possibly could. Here we get ourselves our Witherer and our Arsonist, so yeah, we did a decent job of getting fires on those poor battleships that were running away. And yeah, it's going to be difficult to farm damage in situations like this. So I think that the good players are going to show themselves while playing the Conde by making use of these reload boosters and by positioning in ways where they can get their damage and their battle impact without losing a ton of HP in the early game. So as we can see by this game, even though this is already a decent game and it's going to turn out even better as we farm the last remaining ships, I got a lot to learn when it comes to playing the Conde. I just haven't played my Henri all that much with its reload boosters, and well, I only just bought the Conde. I only played it a couple times in early access to get a few early impressions videos out. So I'll be playing this ship a little bit more, trying to get better at it. I probably will be switching over to reload mod since the reload feels a little long considering it's around 15 seconds, I think, without any reload mod. The range is nice, obviously. It's quite handy to have. We're at 22 kilometers of range. A cruiser has pretty much the range to hit anywhere on the map if we can look at our positioning right now. Yeah, we're in the middle of the map, but that's something that battleships tend to be doing, not cruisers. So the range, while kind of helpful, I think that really the good players who are playing Conde are going to be playing reload mod. So I should probably be trying to get into positions that make that work. And perhaps even range mod is a bit of a bait for having worse performing games, because you can sit at long range and feel safe and comfortable and farming at 20, 22 kilometers when you could be going dark and turning around, pushing in, getting into a better position that'll give you more battle impact in the long run. So these are the things that I'm going to be thinking about while I'm playing the Conde in the future and, well, trying to get a little bit better at it. We only have 140k here, but this game is going to pick up as we're getting closer and we're able to push in a little bit more. This Petrie, of course, is an amazing target for us to farm. A little scary considering he overmatches us everywhere, but his 32mm plating everywhere, it's a giant super battleship that can burn very, very easily. So we definitely want to be farming him as much as we possibly can. I'm even ignoring the Hindenburg that's charging in at us, which is potentially going to be a little bit of a mistake, but I want to wait until this Hindenburg maybe turns broadside, and that can be an opportunity for us to swap over to the AP, for example. But it looks like he's just deciding to push bow in, trying to make something work at the end of the game where his team has kind of fallen apart. And the Conde is a decent ship in these scenarios, but if this ship is able to get a broadside and use its reload booster or even its special gimmick, you'll notice I haven't really used the burst fire gimmick that much in this game as well. Probably another sign that I'm not particularly comfortable in this ship and not maximizing its potential. This ship's AP is absolutely devastating. If you can find a battleship or a cruiser with an exposed citadel at close to mid-ranges, especially with cruisers mid-ranges, it absolutely destroys people. Citadels, devastating strikes are very, very easy to get in this ship. And one of the reasons I think Conde is so good and can be very interesting to play is trying to find value out of its armor piercing. Something else I probably should have done a little better job in this game. We're already up to 175. This one we're actually going to get up even closer to 200k, which is a really, really good game. I don't think it's the absolute pinnacle of what the Conde could have done this game, but it's not a bad game at all. And I think that as I get used to this ship, as I'm playing it a little bit more, making use of its burst fire better, making use of these reload boosters, different ammo types, Conde's insane. This ship is really, really strong. I do prefer the Annapolis, if you're wondering which one I do like playing more, simply because I like radar ships. I like having that extra little bit of battle impact, and I've always just loved playing the Des Moines, so a 12-gun Des Moines is just really, really appealing to me. That said, Conde is no joke, and I think as I play this ship more, trying to play it a little bit closer, using that AP, we all know that I love playing battleships for those dev strikes, that I think I'm really going to enjoy the Conde as I play it a little bit more. Probably because these ships are insanely strong, and it's not hard to have really good games in ships that are a little bit overtuned. Satsuma certainly fits the bill on that one, as well as these other super ships. So 206k, we did manage to win the game, but a lot to improve on. As for the build that I'm running right now, it's a bit of a damage farmer build. We're taking top grade gunner. We're even taking heavy HE, which is increasing our concealment, which is traditionally a bad thing. But you combine that with top grade gunner, you're actually getting an 8% reload a lot of the time. I can't fully commit to it though, so I'm doing a bit of concealment. So 15-kilometer concealment is reasonable-ish, I think. Superintendent is so necessary given how many and how amazing the consumables are on this ship. Of course, we're taking Adrenaline Rush as well, even Demo Expert for extra fires. Grease the gears, you notice I'm missing Gun Feeder. Maybe that's the reason I wasn't using AP as much, because I didn't have Gun Feeder, and that makes it a little bit trickier to find the right ammo type all the time. As for upgrades, yeah, we're pretty standard Henri, Conde kind of build. Maybe not in concealment systems here. People can take steering gears and, again, maximize their ability to get that 8%, top grade gunner bonus. Again, I kind of feel like that is a little bit too difficult to play, at least for me, so I do take some concealment. But yeah, I'm using range mod, but I'm actually going to force myself to play it with reload mod next time. So hopefully I can learn to play it a little bit more aggressive, a little bit better, a little more close range, and have a little more battle impact. But again, this is a really, really strong ship, and see, 30 millimeters of armor, not a lot in this super ship tier, but it's still something, especially if you find yourself against tier 10s, tier 9s that only have 406s. Yeah, you can be a bit of a bully in those circumstances. But it's an amazing ship, and as I play it more, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it a lot more. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.